Hello. I was asked to do this video by someone who is going to be, well, I'm not going to tell her story, but she's going to be speaking at a wedding. And so she wanted to learn how to speak well because she's afraid she's going to screw up. And no, honey, you won't. This is how you speak well. And so the person in question is fond of Kennedy, and I happen to do a Kennedy impression. I can do it several ways. And as someone who communicates and who has communicated specifically for my career, most of my career, I had to learn how to speak well. I had to learn how to project authority. I had to learn how to embody that authority as well, because you can't project authority unless you have authority. That's important. So how to speak like Kennedy. Let's start with this. If you're going to do like a Mayor Quimby impression, right, that's one thing. You sound like Mayor Quimby. Mayor Quimby's right up here. He's up here in this part of the throat right here. Do you see? You see? That's how it's going to be. You see? Kind of like that, right? That's not how Kennedy speaks. If you are, it sounds kind of like a guy trying to impersonate Kennedy. It doesn't sound like Kennedy, right? And that's the problem that a lot of actors also like fall into when they try to do like a Kennedy sort of like role. And so what we do is this. Mayor Quimby is like a lowercase letter I, right? Imagine this here. It starts here, not here, but here. I, and then the dot's here, right here in the throat. That's where he dots. He punctuates himself there. It's like, I am Mayor Quimby, and I am here in Springfield, and I am going to be doing this Kennedy impression. It's not the guy doing a Kennedy impression. It doesn't sound like Kennedy. So in order to get Kennedy, imagine yourself standing on the dais, getting inaugurated as, God help you, President of the United States. My apologies. And so you're standing there. You're not going to speak up here like this doing a Kennedy impression, even if you want to sound like him, even if you have that accent naturally. You're going to be speaking from the heart. Kennedy literally spoke from the heart. There's a point in when you speak and when you project that you can actually feel it vibrate in your chest, feel it resonate, right? Then you open your mouth like that to get it to project. Imagine kind of like in Sister Act, you know, you're in this lounge, right? There's like all these things happening in front of you. There's people smoking, people drinking, carrying on, and there's someone in the back just trying to strain to hear you, going, I can't hear you. What? All this is going on. So you have to project your voice. Make sure that they can hear you. Now, how do you do that? Like this. Imagine, as opposed to Quimby's lowercase letter I, right? An uppercase letter I that starts here in your heart, comes up here to your throat, but still comes back down to your heart, because he start and end with the heart, always. In every single part of the word that you speak. And Margaret Thatcher is a good example to give you, insofar as someone who can enunciate every part of the word. Every letter should be audible, right? That's how you can help authority be conveyed and projected. Now, let's try this. A comparison. First, Mayor Quimby. I'm going to be taking something that Mayor Quimby may or may not have said. Let's try this instead. We have this here cleaner. This is an OxyClean shower cleaner, right? You get clean showers with this OxyClean. That's Mayor Quimby, right? That's not what we want. We want this. So here's a line from Kennedy's actual inaugural address. For I have sworn before you and before Almighty God, that same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and three quarters ago. He wouldn't have fucked that up. But when I said, for I have sworn before you, it's for I. It starts here at the heart, right? For I have sworn before you. You have to feel it here, specifically right here in your chest, right? As it sort of makes almost like a letter I, almost like a triangle, right? But letter I. Imagine a letter I in your chest, holding you straight up, right? You're speaking from the heart. You're trying to project out so that all the people in the audience in 1961 can hear you, right? For I have sworn before you and before Almighty God that same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3 quarters ago. There's Kennedy. Not up here like Mayor Quimby, but down here like John Fitzgerald Kennedy, President of these United States And actually, when you do that, when you speak like Kennedy, you actually don't even have to do an impersonation. Because when you learn to speak like Kennedy, and you have that letter I in your chest, right? It comes out almost naturally. You get his inflections because he's breathing a certain way. He's standing a certain way. He's in a certain posture. And so you adopt them because you have to in order to speak like that. And so, Margaret Thatcher is another one too. I love Margaret Thatcher as a good example to how to communicate well. Now, Margaret Thatcher is, I would call it purposeful well, insofar as Margaret Thatcher will have a purpose for what she's trying to say to you. Kennedy's trying to inspire you. Margaret Thatcher's trying to get shit done, right? There's a difference in motivation. And the difference in motivation, these two speakers, will also infer and also inform and also influence how they're trying to speak to you. And so, Margaret Thatcher, we have to get into her a little bit. Because I'm a male, I have to get into a female voice. And so how do we do that? How do you do that? To do an Thatcher, like if I was going to get in drag and impersonate Maggie Thatcher, I would do this. You have to look back to her first earlier part of her career when she's just getting to the House of Commons. Not when she's popularized, not when she's like the Iron Lady like Meryl Streep. No, my gosh, Meryl, let me help you, sorry. But Meryl did not do a very good job, no offense, did not do a very good job in her accent. And Gillian Anderson did a much better job than Meryl accentually, but did not nail it because she didn't, I don't think, went through this exercise. It's a very methodical exercise. You have to get into character, so you have to do this. I'm Margaret Thatcher, I'm trying to get shit done. So I just got elected to the House of Commons. Look back in the whatever it was, right? When she's a member of Parliament. And she's shrill. She's like a housewife up here before she had her vocal training, just like this. And she brought her voice to that huskier sort of voice, right? That deeper voice. She's up here. She's very, very high. Yeah, and yes, you have to start like that. You do. Very, very high up here. Well, over here, I'm very excited to be a member of the House of Commons. And it's very shrill when I get upset. It's very shrill when I speak to you. And can you imagine calling up Comcast customer service like this? No. You cannot imagine that. And when she gets upset, even as she's had her vocal training, you can tell that shrill comes out because that's her real natural speaking voice. It's very, very high up here, almost like the Mayor Quimby thing. But over the years, she's learned over her premiership that when she drops her voice to a little bit of a more huskier tone, as someone who does, I think it's, I can't remember, Spitting Image does this very well. And he actually said this. I'm actually borrowing from him. And so his advice is very good. You have to start off very, very high up here, and then we have to calm Margaret down, little by little. Calm Margaret down. And then suddenly, we have that, dare I say it, husky voice. Because she's learned that politics as a woman is something that you can actually use at any age. Sex as a means of communication, of getting things done. And remember the diction when you speak, when you enunciate things. Diction is done by the tip of the tongue and the teeth. Remember that. Diction is done by the tip of the tongue and the teeth. And she enunciates and says every part of every word that she says. Every letter is audible. And so, let's see, Margaret Thatcher. And so, President Reagan, I stand before you today and before your American Congress, and I say that you have never had a firmer ally than we, that America and Britain have always been the strongest of allies, and so it has been decided that we will take over and make you all drink tea and sing God Save Queen Elizabeth II. It's like that. And so, it's a funny sentence, but, but true. You must speak like that. And so that's how we can get you into sort of like a Maggie Thatcher tone. Now, what can Maggie Thatcher and what can John F. Kennedy both teach us about how to communicate well? Well, with Kennedy, as we said, we speak from the heart, right? Because he's trying to inspire us, right? So imagine once more that not a lowercase letter I, we have it up here like Mayor Quimby, but you have to imagine it like an uppercase I starts here, down here, and it bases in your heart, right? Kennedy speaks literally from the heart. So remember, it sounds like this. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God that oath, right? Margaret Thatcher, on the other hand, she's not trying to inspire you. She's trying to get shit done because she is a woman and she's got a job to do. And if she's going too fast, that's because I am in a hurry. So, these two motivations will play a factor into how you speak. Now, how can you as a person speak like that without trying to imitate them? If you're just trying to get things done in your real world, maybe you're trying to get a promotion, maybe you're trying to be a preacher, maybe you're trying to inspire someone, or if you're like my friend, trying to speak at a wedding. And so I would say, do this. Find the happy medium that makes the two of them come together. This pair, strange bedfellows it might seem, but Maggie Thatcher and John F. Kennedy have a love child in your voice. Imagine that. Now we're going to do this. Hello, my name is Caston George, and I'm here today to speak to you, all of you, about how we can speak well and with purpose. And that is the point of this video today. And as all of you know, I am projecting now to the back of the room. You can hear me in the back of the room. And we do declare, with one solemn voice, that we ought to be united in our common interests instead of divided by what others would call our common differences. And there you have it. That is how you can speak well and with the conveyance of authority, if you have authority to start with. And that's a sort of exclamation point, indescribable factor that is very hard to, actually it's impossible to duplicate unless you have it. But if you need to just speak in such a way that is authoritatively, that's how you do it.